Germany's Foreign Minister Heiko Maas at a meeting with the Prime Minister Rama and Minister Bushati stressed that countries that are sceptical of Albania will only be persuaded by tangible results in fighting corruption. The deadline for the strategic investment law has been postponed, with Deputy Economy Minister Shkurta explaining that change is being made because the ministry is preparing a unified draft for investments. About 150 students in the Boracay village of Shijak have boycotted the education process by refusing to allow their children to be transported away for school, instead demanding that their village school be reconstructed. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, the 19th of September 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. June 2019 is not a guaranteed date for the opening of Albania's negotiations with the European Union. On an official visit to Tirana, German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas stated that the countries within the Union that remain sceptical of Albania's inclusion in the Union will only be convinced by concrete results from reforms, with emphasis on that of the justice reform. He expressed this stance at a meeting with Foreign Minister Bushati. EU member states have made it clear that June 2019 will not see an automatic opening in terms of accession talks. The criteria for this are clear and known. We know the path of reform is painful, but it is also indispensable, said Heiko Maas. The border correction issue was also raised as a topic of discussion between the two counterparts at the Foreign Ministry. Germany remains unsure about exchange of territories in the Balkans. There is a fear of a domino effect in the region, so Germany is sceptical and discreet about the exchange of the territories, said Heiko Maas. After the Foreign Ministry, Maas stood at the headquarters of the Albanian government, where Prime Minister Edi Rama stressed the importance of Germany's support in the integration process. We are grateful to German Chancellor for supporting reform in justice and all other reforms related to progress in the function of our EU integration, said Edi Rama. However, the head of the government is not satisfied yet. During the joint press conference, he also urged the German ministers to support OSCE leadership. We will continue to talk with the minister, and I will repeat a request we have made to receive the federal government's support for Albania's candidacy to run the OSCE. We are convinced that this will contribute to and increase the function of dynamics for the region's integration process and would be a motivational incentive for both Albania and the rest of the region, said Edi Rama. The German diplomat held a meeting with the head of the Democratic Party, Lulzim Basha, where he discussed the political situation and a possible disruption to unblock parliamentary boycott. Meanwhile, Minister Bushati underlined in his speech that the process of screening will begin next week. After his release from prison, Airman Hja will have to work at his wife's company. At least this is the directive set out in the reasons for the decision given by Judge Piro Sota on September 13 for the nephew of the former dictator Enver Hoxha. After reviewing the case, the document states that Airman Hja was sentenced to 6 years and 8 months imprisonment following action in Zibraka, where a cocaine lab was discovered and 11 people were arrested. The court upheld the decision for parole and the assessment made of the inmate, which stated that he was aware of the offence and denounced his action, even adding that he was rehabilitated and ready to integrate into society. The convicted person also has submitted a work contract from the employer who certifies that he will commence work in case of his release, which helps the quick rehabilitation of former prisoners to reintegrate into society. The assessment also determines that the inmate does not have issues with the use of alcohol or other illegal substances. The inmate shows a high propensity to take care of himself and his family. The inmate has the full support of the family to reintegrate into society. The presented employment contract was issued by the economist at the Hera company. However, the arguments for release have been rejected by prosecutor Aslan Bayrami. According to him, the offence which Hoxha was convicted falls under the definitions of organised crime. He adds that there is no evidence or proof that would legitimise release ahead of time. These criminal activities and the sophisticated way in which they are carried out guarantee that persons involved in such crimes and such collaborations are not rehabilitated. Practice has shown that persons convicted of these crimes, not only are they not rehabilitated, but they often get involved in more serious crimes after serving their sentence. The inmate in question did not deliver any statement in which he showed repentance for the acts committed, nor did he apologise, nor has he ever cooperated at any time with the judiciary. continued the arguments from the prosecutor. Despite the prosecutor's arguments in an attempt to keep Airman Hja behind bars, the judge still decided to order his immediate release. Deputy Economy Minister Shkurta stated that a unified law is currently being worked on, which aims to protect both domestic and foreign investments. According to Shkurta, this means that the deadline for strategic investments must be postponed until a new draft is prepared. According to the Deputy Minister, they are currently conducting meetings with different interest groups, and the draft is expected to be ready early next year. The drafting of a unified investment law is expected to solve a series of recently emerging issues. It also aims to provide protection for both domestic and foreign investments as well as strategic investments by covering the entire law from the principles of transparency and equality. The application process for the tenders to build the 5G network will soon be opened. Minister of Transport and Infrastructure Damian Jiknori gave a speech at the Technology Festival, stating that the government is organising the process with the respective authority. This means we will have a larger 4G and 5G internet network in order to receive the required speed for many of the services that are provided online. From the festival, the Kosovar Innovation Minister, Besim Becaj, added that the technology can improve trade exchanges between our two countries. The Innovation Festival is taking place in Tirana from the 18th until the 20th of September. The energy and telecommunications sectors were the focus of the second day of this activity. About 150 students of Year 9 education age in the village of Boycotted in Shijak have not yet sat down in their classrooms. The village school is set to be closed for the second year due to its debilitated state, resulting in the need to develop a teaching across a second shift at a school in nearby MAAS. What is the reason for the school remaining closed? Why did they not reconstruct it? My child is in the first grade. Where should I send him now? They have told us to go to the school in MAAS, but we have no means by which to send our children there, said one of the parents. Today, students and parents protested in front of the Shijak municipality, seeking the reconstruction of their school, Adem Sabli. Parents say they are determined not to send their children to MAAS school, even if their request to save their village school does not get a quick solution. The school of MAAS is about 5 kilometres away. Last year, Boycotted students were transported by buses, but parents evidenced at least 2 cases where children's lives were endangered by accidents. As such, this new school year, they have unified in their stand to boycott the education process. We do not want to send our children to MAAS because there have been 2 accidents during transportation. Fortunately, the 2 children were spared their lives. We are determined not to send them to MAAS anymore. We want our school here, exclaimed one parent. The most at risk are first grade students, as their parents say they are unable to take and pick up their children every day from school as they are scheduled for afternoon classes. Despite the protests, the municipality of Shijak remained silent about the situation. Even this year, students sit at their school desks without having all their textbooks in their school bag. High schools are missing many textbooks, such as those for foreign languages, literature, history and information technology. Students say that the bookstores were not able to provide any information as to when they will have the missing textbooks in their hands. Compared to the previous year, the price of textbooks has also increased. For the 10th grade, the whole package costs around 8,000 lek, not a reasonable price for most family budgets. Asked by Aura News officials, the Ministry of Education said that this situation was caused by the distributors who are obliged to provide the exact number of textbooks required. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.